I'm on a quest to read every Star Wars novel ever written, because I love this series with all my heart. Happy May the 4th, everybody. For Star Wars Day, it only seems fitting to finally talk about my favorite Star Wars novel, The Revenge of the Sith by Matthew Stover. Normally, this is where I would tell you something about the plot, but let's be real. You know what this book is about. You've seen the movie, and I'm sure many of you are thinking that you wouldn't be interested in rereading the same story you could already watch in film. I implore you to reconsider. This is not only the best Star Wars novel, it's perhaps the best piece of Star Wars media, period. Matthew Stover brings to life the tragic story that George Lucas intended in ways that the movie can't even touch. To compare the Revenge of the Sith novel to the movie is like comparing the Mona Lisa to a crayon drawing of itself. Sure, you get the same gist, but one completely dwarfs the other. But why? Well, through the prose surrounding the scenes that we already know and love, Stover is able to dive so deeply into the characters, how they're feeling, how they're thinking at any given moment. Like Count Dooku laughing haughtily at the very idea that Kenobi and Skywalker could pose a threat to him, or envisioning his soon-to-be-realized empire. Or, like Count Dooku, staring into the eyes of Chancellor Palpatine, who's just ordered Anakin Skywalker to kill him, and realizing the truth that he's been nothing more than a pawn in the Sith Lord's game. But even more significant is Anakin, whose fears of losing Padme are keeping him up at night. He's not sleeping, he's not eating, he's becoming more and more erratic as the book goes on. Stover takes a fall from grace that in the movie feels somewhat rushed and all of a sudden, and instead turns it into an inevitable crash, as he slowly drifts closer and closer to the dark side without even realizing it. I don't even necessarily blame the movie for all of these disparities, because some of the things that make the book so special are things that a movie fundamentally can't do, and some of them are even exceptional among novels. A key example, this is the only book I've ever read that even tries, much less succeeds, to utilize second-person perspective. That means it doesn't say I picked up my lightsaber, it doesn't say he picked up his lightsaber, it says you picked up your lightsaber. See, at key moments, the book will start a chapter with something along the lines of, "This is how it feels to be Anakin Skywalker right now," and it will put you, the reader, directly in the shoes of Anakin as you grapple with the fact that, for instance, your lifelong friend and confidant, Chancellor Palpatine, is secretly the Sith Lord that you've been charged to execute. And you have to weigh your responsibility as a Jedi against the fact that this is not only one of the most important people in your life, but he's also potentially the only person in the galaxy who could save your wife, Padme. It's a brilliantly effective technique, and it makes for one of the most powerful moments in a book that is absolutely chock full of powerful moments. I once made a bet that I could open this book to a random page and I would find a line that in any other book would be the best line in the book. And of course I won because this book is full of them. Even the lines that you know and love from the movies are enhanced by the book. There are so many opportunities for absolute bangers that the movie just missed out on. For instance, we all know, "You fool, I have been trained in your Jedi arts by Count Dooku," from General Grievous. But in the book, well, to start with, there's a little wrinkle where he instead says, "I have been trained in your Jedi arts by Lord Tyrannus himself." But what really brings it home is when Obi-Wan replies, "Oh, do you mean Count Dooku? What a curious coincidence. I trained the man who killed him." And that's not even one of the best ones! I'm telling you, this book is a life-changing experience. My girlfriend could probably recite it from memory just based on the number of times I've stopped her and said, "Babe, you've gotta hear this part." If you're a Star Wars fan, you owe it to yourself to read this book. It's beyond my scale. It gets an 11 out of 10, maybe higher. Read it.